You have emerged as one of the leading journalists from Bollywood, being the editor-in-chief for Brut India. What were some of the challenges that you faced?
When we began Brut in India, we thought that we should be covering Bollywood from a different perspective. So I do think that sometimes people we adore and see on the large screen also need space to probably talk about not very glamorous topics.
Talk to us about your content strategy. How do you navigate around strategizing this whole content, especially when you have mixed audience?
I won't give you my secret sauce. No, I'm just kidding. I wish there was one formula that I could give out there for great content, for meaningful content. But here is how we did it at Brute. So, we don't think about 5 million, 10 million views for destroying somebody's reputation or
Hi, Mehak ma'am. Thank you so much for joining Gold Media. Pleasure to have you on our podcast today. How are you doing?
the pleasure is all mine, Supriya. Thank you so much for having me. And it's an early morning for you. So, thank you.
Appreciate it. So, ma'am, you have emerged as one of the leading journalists from Bollywood, being the editor-in-chief for Brut India. What were some of the challenges that you faced in this literally male-dominating kind of arena? How did you uniquely position yourself?
So thank you for that question, Supriya. First, I'd like to say that I'm not a Bollywood reporter or a Bollywood editor, somebody who even covers Bollywood from a purely how you see Bollywood being covered, right? So magazines and online publishers who cover it not just as a beat but sort of continuously on a daily basis, all aspects of it. But when we began Brute in India, we thought that we should be covering Bollywood from a different perspective. So, entertainment from a different perspective. What was that perspective? And kudos to my team who does this very well. We thought we should be speaking about people in Bollywood, in entertainment, who probably would never make it on the front page of a magazine, right? But everybody knows them.
Right.
Everybody loves them. They may be faces that we've seen in movies and loved those characters. It may be faces and actors that we've seen in OTT, in television, but maybe they are not the hero or the heroine or even the person who does sort of, the main villain. But we love these characters. We love what they bring to the story by sheer talent. And we said these are the people that we would go ahead and start covering and tell their stories. So it would be a different perspective on how we cover entertainment in Bollywood. That's exactly what we started doing, and our audiences loved it because nobody was covering these faces who people loved. And once we started doing that, the bigger faces, the bigger stars followed, right? Because the stories that we were talking about were heartwarming, of grit, of just sometimes humor, sometimes bringing out struggles, but unique in their own perspective. So that's the difference, really, in how at Brute we approached covering Bollywood and entertainment, and of course the larger stars then followed. Even in the larger stars, we tried to show the person behind the difficult decisions maybe they would have taken, or perhaps even some controversies that they have gotten themselves mixed into, but their perspective. Because I do think that sometimes people we adore and see on the large screen also need space to probably talk about not very glamorous topics, causes perhaps that they believe in, simple things that they perhaps want to talk about. And I think Brute did provide that platform to look at people in a different way. On the second part of your question on a male dominated field, I don't know if entertainment coverage or even perhaps journalism is male dominated in India. I think women do the ratio to male to women is quite good in newsrooms in India. I think you perhaps even have more women covering it. However, I do think that at the top level, at the management level, or levels where you have to take calls or call or lead teams, it is largely still male dominated. I think we've made a dent, and there are more women who are head of newsrooms, who are head of even revenue in publications in India. But I think we still have a long way to go. And the way to do that, of course, is to keep pushing against the glass ceiling.
Thank you so much for sharing that insight, Mehak. Talk to us about your content strategy. And I'm glad that you brought up something wherein you opened up the platform for a broader talent group so that people can really relate to their stories or get some fresh perspectives with different talents being out there. Talk to us about your content strategy. How do you navigate around strategizing this whole content, especially when you have mixed audience? You have the intellectual group. You also have to cater to the mass. You have to cater to probably NRI audience. You have to cater to like different type of people out there. So talk to us about that.
I won't give you my secret sauce. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a great question. And I've pondered on this a lot in terms of that I wish there was one formula that I could give out there for great content, for meaningful content. But here is how we did it at Brute. So, definitely having a really good team, right? And when you say team, once you have that team, to trust that team, to truly be democratic in the process of content, because content is not a product. Content is not a toothpaste we manufacture or a cola drink which has sort of a chemistry formula to it, that once you have it, you can manufacture it based on that formula, right? Content is a lot about the lens through which we see the world, and what out of that lens are we going to pick and sort of put under the microscope, right? Put under the spotlight, sorry, for the world to see. And it's very important that we have diverse people of diverse backgrounds and personalities and expertise in the team, so that we can truly have a democratic process on what content is important on a given particular day to put out. Having said that, there are of course a couple of things that we when we sort out and we look at Brute even today in terms of content on what we look for. We put out quality over quantity. And what that means is that we only do very limited number of publications every day. But we make sure that these count, and there's a lot of attention to detail that we put in these. It definitely goes through the checks of how transparent are we being with our audience. So where did the information come from? What is the source on it? Has somebody not responded to some things that we may not know immediately? If we are putting that out, we'll even put that out there. If we make a mistake in a story, we very quickly own up to it in a big way. And when I say in a big way, I mean in a prominent way. So if there's a particular story that we've put out and we may have made even a typo, which says in February 2025 versus March 2025, we'll pretty much make sure that we immediately put that out, in the comments of the story saying, hey, we've made this mistake. It's actually March, and this is the TC or the time code at which we've made that mistake. This has helped us develop trust with our viewers. We've grown organically, right? We're not behind. Let's make something go viral. Let something reach 10 million, 20, 40, 80 million views. No, we want to make sure that whatever we are putting out is it adding any value to our viewers? It could be entertainment value, and everything doesn't have to be about serious content. So maybe it's something very heartwarming. Maybe it's a story from the heartland that others are not covering, and we think there's value in it. Maybe it's a really important political development, but going beyond what the headline is. We are, not in the breaking news sense, going beyond what the headline is. Are we adding any value to our viewer? Will they be, uh, the time that they are giving us to watch that video, are we adding something to their life and knowledge on it? And our litmus test really is for young audiences. So 89% of our audience is below the age of 35. So we have Gen Z and young millennials
Yeah,
as our audience. And for them, can we empower them enough with enough information so that they can hold a intelligent conversation and make up their own minds on topics that matter to them, topics that they may be speaking to at a dinner party with friends, topics that they may be speaking to their partners about, to their parents about, to their educators about. So we will cover everything from wars which are going on in the world, to major elections which are taking place within and beyond the country, to Labubu dolls and the trends and
right.
decoding that on why that works, or even the matcha trend, for for tea. All of this will fall within the purview of informing our audiences in the right way.
That is very interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Mehak. Talk to us about a situation wherein some breaking news, sensational news is coming, and that's related to an A-lister celebrity, and you have a great personal relationship with that celebrity. How do you sort of balance it out, and how would you, on one hand, you have a great content that might get you like millions of views. On the other hand, you might end up putting the relationship on stage. So how do you navigate the situation?
I think it's a great question, and I think it doesn't only happen with celebrities. I think it happens with anybody who's a public figure, and if you're a journalist and putting something out. Uh, like I mentioned, we are not in the market for sensationalism. We are not in the market for just making something go viral. The byproduct of what we do is virality. Right? People may view us as, hey, it's on Brut, so it's gone viral, right? But it's the other way around, really. In terms of that, we put out information, and because that information is adds value, it goes viral. So we don't think about 5 million, 10 million views for uh, destroying somebody's reputation, or having a rumor which is put out, or any of that, right?
Right,
If there is ever any information that we think is vetted, is right, we think it can add value to our viewers, and we are going to go ahead and publish it. That and if there is a celebrity who says, hey, don't put this out for ABC reasons, I think that there is always a conversation that can happen on why do they think a particular thing? Are there any apprehensions around it? Or, I mean, other than it being a scam, or,
yeah,
something which is our duty as journalists to put out. So other than that, if it's some information where they think, they are probably overthinking it on what this could be, our teams and we speak to them, make them understand that what we are putting out is going to be in totality. We are not like sort of headline hunting, putting just like this one portion out, which can create a controversy. We are always very fair to put context on it. And one of the things, Supriya, that I did not mention earlier, which is key at Brute, is we always, always, always think of engagement. To us, in many ways, the engagement is sometimes more important than the views. And what that means is that, when I say engagement, what it means is, what is the effect this piece of information is going to have on people when they view this? What
Yeah.
is the effect that this piece of information is going to have on the person who we are putting this out on? So we are always very responsible that we must have constructive engagement. So constructive engagement should be, it can be anything from, is it bringing people together? Are we talking solutions? Is it going to push people towards discussing solutions in the comment section? Is it going to push people towards thinking about something that they hadn't thought about before, on a particular angle of a story? And for the person who we are putting this out on, so let's say if it's a celebrity or a public figure who we are doing the story on, we are very conscious of what this would mean for them,
Right.
right? And we apply the same litmus test to a regular citizen who would be part of our story. What would it do to their everyday life after this? Because one thing we are extremely cognizant of is anything online on social remains there forever.
Yeah.
Ever. It is
Yeah.
not something that you can take back, unlike, say, probably a physical newspaper which lives for 24 hours, or say maybe a television bite, which has run for maybe once, and you can say, oh, let me take this down. Right? We are very cognizant of the fact that once it's online, it's out there forever and ever. Let me give you an example, and this is not a celebrity example. Let me give you an example. It was at the peak of the Me Too movement.
Mhm.
You had celebrities who had come out and spoken. There was sort of a movement in India which was taking place. And we had a young woman, a young lady who had reached out to us. She wanted to tell her story.
Mhm.
Um, we spoke to her. She wanted to go public with it. We said, okay, we will carry the story. And she gave us an interview on it. And we went ahead and published the story in totality,
Right.
right?
Right.
We got I think within just a few hours, that story hit 1 million views, maybe like in 2 hours, 3 hours.
Mhm.
And about 24 hours, 48 hours later, she called me. Okay, she called me and the reporter who had done the story, saying that I have a lot of problems at home because of the story going viral. And there's a lot of unrest at home. My parents are absolutely devastated with this which is happening, and can you please take the story down?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we had two choices. We had consent from her when she had approached us. We had consent from her to put the story out. We had not misrepresented her in any way. The story had gone viral and it was still gaining large amount of traction for us. But we decided that we did not want to harm her in any way. And if this was something which was important to her, we said, okay, we'll take the story down, because at the end of it, we must think of the person who has come out and sort of, taken this stance. So I hope I answered your question in that sense,
Yeah.
that we're not in the business of, sensationalism, just getting as many views as possible. And our viewers know that.
Right.
They hold us to account if ever we make that mistake.
And thanks for sharing. Thanks for showing that respect and professionalism towards that celebrity. I'm pretty sure that she would have really respected Brut much more than, ever. So thanks for sharing that, Mehak. What do you have to say about, for instance, people like Abhinav Kashyap, who has suddenly emerged after 10 years and talking about his relationship with Salman and the whole Dabang process and how him and his family, like Salman Khan's family, has completely screwed up his career. Do you think there is some substance to it, and do you think the way it's going viral in some of the platforms, it has any value, or it is this the right time?
I'm sorry, Supriya, I don't know anything about that. I know
Okay.
as much as you know. Like I had mentioned, I'm not a Bollywood, sort of beat reporter to know any inside stories and inside scoops.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know anything on the details of that bit. Like I said, at Brute, we don't cover sort of the controversies like possibly paparazzi do, or possibly beat reporters do on that bit. I wouldn't know anything on that.
Okay. The most important question that I had was, if there were no restrictions from celebrity side, what questions potentially would you like to ask Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, and Amir Khan?
I feel like I'm on one of those coffee with Karans, or where you have to ask these. But I think celebrities are asked pretty much everything. I don't think there's any taboo on please ask this or don't ask that. Maybe perhaps teams are there who may want us to do to sort of ask a particular question depending on what they're promoting in terms of movies, etc. But your question is, if there was a no holds bar interview with Amir, Shah Rukh, and Salman,
Salman.
right?
Yeah.
Separately, what would I ask them?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, well, let me think. Perhaps the same thing to all three. Uh, what if they became the prime minister of Bollywood? I'm saying prime minister of Bollywood in terms of that, if there was this one entity who could make all the rules for the film industry and for Bollywood, and they became this entity who could sort of have a say on policy, have a say on which way the industry moves, all of it. So sort of this stature in terms of, if there was ever like a prime minister for Bollywood or entertainment, what are the changes that they would bring?
They would bring.
Right. I think it would be the same to all three. It would be interesting to see what the answers would be. I am assuming it would be quite different from each other,
And
but
I'm
perhaps.
assuming if they are watching, all three of them, Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, please do respond. What changes would you like to bring?
Right.
So, another thing, Mehak, I wanted to ask you is, you work so closely with all the A-lister celebrities. What are some of the commonalities you have seen that really justifies their position where they are today?
I think it's the same for any profession, really. Hardworking,
Hmm.
being professional, with what you do, being knowing what is expected of you, whether it's in an interview, whether it's in the way you conduct yourself, in the way you speak about your craft, in the way you speak to your teams, how you're managing it. Are you present completely during an event or a conversation? Are you giving your everything at that point in time? To it, do you know how to navigate perhaps some of the unexpected things which are thrown your way,
Yeah.
and with grace, and having a long term picture in mind? I think it would be the same for sort of any public figure, knowing their craft really well, knowing all aspects of how the industry works, being professional in how you conduct yourself. But also, I think one thing that stands apart is empathy. I find that people who are very good at what they do, and perhaps at the epitome of their craft and success, are also people who have empathy. And I think that's one characteristic which is very important, and perhaps helps in being where they are.
Right. People only remember people that have been empathetic, helpful, and compassionate. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, I think people will forget what you said, what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think all big leaders know that.
Thank you so much, Mehak, for sharing all the insights and joining Gold Media LLC.
Thank you so much, Supriya. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for having me.